Welcome.
Recording.
Ooh, recording in progress. Got it.
It could make that a lot easier or like less harsh, I would hope. But
Yeah.
I would think so. Anyway, every software team has its backlog and the things that they're trying to get done. So they did make a change to it. Like it used to be even worse, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah.
That seems like it's better. Anyway, welcome everyone. Week 6. We're into the end of week 6. Is that right?
End of week 6. Yeah.
Wow, 2 weeks left. What in the
Yep.
world? Okay, so that's cool. Your app is coming along great. Really excited with the progress this week too. So first thing is demos. So I guess I should look at the control chart, huh? Okay, let me do that. Because this is more of a review of the week than just demos. So while I do that, I will share with all of you that next week we're going to have a guest for our demos. What do you think of that?
Ooh, cool.
Yeah. So it's this man Shakiri who works for a consulting firm that does a lot of work with diversity, inclusion, equity kind of issues. And one of the things they do is staffing and that kind of thing. And he was just, he and I were talking. I was referred to him by a friend of Collab Lab. I'm trying to remember. I don't know. I can't remember who it is. Anyway, that's terrible. But we had a great conversation, and I was like, this would actually be really good practice for the team. Like you don't normally in a company when you're demoing, you're not just demoing to each other. Like the real point of it is that you demo to stakeholders and let them know what the state of things is. And so a lot of times they're not technical. Shakiri is not super technical. He's got some amazing experience with this kind of like business systems, like global business systems and things, but he's not a developer at all. So it'll be a good opportunity to kind of practice, like, how do you talk about these things to people who might not know the technical concepts, right? So anyway, I'm really excited to have him join us next week. And let's look at our control chart. So we'll look at the last 2 weeks and just let's see. So I say this every time, but we still haven't kind of settled on what we think should be the ideal average. I don't think we ever came up with a number for that. 5 days of time, it kind of fits that's sort of the cadence we've been in, of like sort of an issue per week. We've managed, even I was really surprised and pleased that y'all got through the search issue this time so much faster. So we've even managed to kind of keep things that are kind of bigger in scope in some ways into that sort of 5-day cadence. So yeah, so we've had, there's a little bit of variation, but even our, this kind of the light blue area, the standard deviation is pretty tight. So I think y'all have been really consistent about it. In the last 2 weeks, we completed 5 issues. So we actually did a little bit more than an issue per week as a team. So that's great. Are there any questions about the control chart? People getting pretty comfortable with what it means and like how to read it and all that kind of stuff. Cool. All right. Well, then I will turn it over to you all. And which pair would like to go first and demo their work from the week?
this week ago, I'm gonna demo the code, and then I think Alejandro is going to show the app.
Okay.
So we were creating the search form to allow users to put in a location, name or address, and then generate pins from the Wikipedia Nearby Places API. And weirdly, this was the only one, or the documentation for this Places library from Google was actually the easiest one for me to understand or the best documented or easiest to use, I felt like. Probably because we were only using a very minute part of it. So we created the search form. One thing I'm seeing, we spent so much time thinking about the search look. So we had a cool icon previously that had a globe in it, and we since changed it, but still have the variable name. So I should probably fix that.
I was wondering why it was planet. I didn't see a planet in the icon, but
Yeah, I think we were trying out a few things because it was very hard to get it to fit the view box or the box model was just kind of awkward. And if you hear noises in the background, my cat has the zoomies, so it's just running.
It's like it sounded like pause kind of.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally like running from room to room, and I'm like, all right. And so everything looks pretty similar. The another big change that we did, we added a context for Google Maps, just so that we could pull in everything from Google Maps and give that all of the components everything from it. And that was thanks to Alejandro thinking ahead for the next issue or ticket that this would be helpful for. And so we really, this Places API is just running a query based on the text. So we've got this field's name and geometry, and it was interesting to look up geometry because I've done a couple of map things before, and geometry usually means like the polygon shapes, but this is a super class that has points, latitude, longitude, and polygon output. So really, this is just allowing us to get the latitude and longitude to change the center map. And we're just calling the places services. If the request is denied and the API key isn't working, we have an error message there. And then Alejandro found out there is a 0 results error that you can add, so that if you just happen to be in a place that has no, if you put in an address that has no, isn't located there. And then we're getting the first results based on the fact that you mentioned they could compete. So we don't want the nearby places from Google Places API. We want to use Wikipedia. So we're only taking what's closest to make it a bit simpler to navigate. Also, we didn't add, we're only getting places by name or address. You could get by telephone number, but that was out of the scope for this PR, and we, according to the AC, we decided not to do that. And then we have our form. One thing that was kind of challenging was to get the text to fit, because it was really hard to say, well, you can enter a place name or the address and have it succinct. We pretty much did more time on the CSS just to make sure that the placeholder text could fit, and that we didn't take up too much real estate with text, but so there could be options for improvement there. Yeah, and I will stop sharing. And
so before you do,
Oh,
one
yeah.
thing I didn't notice before is you have you're calling it handle query on change. So that seems like every time the user types a character, it's going to fire off a new query to Google.
Oh,
Is that
really?
true?
Well, we have the on submit, so I don't think anything
Oh, it's not
happens
actually.
until we click.
Oh, okay.
like,
It's not actually
enter.
making the API call. Okay, right. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Okay, good. That's just a React thing to keep the the value in there, right?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
something that has happened to me before when I was trying to do this, like yeah, on change and on submit have always been kind of interesting to me, but I used an on change once to where you could see the text that was being typed versus and keep it versus like submitting it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Cool. That's good. I was thinking like if we wanted to do an autocomplete or something, or have it kind of like as you're typing, it gives you suggested things, then you would, we would go back to that on change attribute, do something different.
And now I sharing my screen. I show the functionality. With Megan created this search form, and we put the search field and a button, and we can write some place. I prepare some examples for this. Example, you can use the address first. You can write some address. You can click in the button and search some place, recenter the map, and we can render new pins around this place. Also, for example, it's another place. We can then copy the name and again search and again recenter the map. We get new pins and the search is working. And also we add this search form and two in the list. We can the same result. Oh, it is the before example. We need places and it's improved. Maybe the maintain the same query, but I create a new URL ticket for this. That's all. Thank you.
So it was interesting, that example, the Mitchell's ice cream. Nice job. It looks great. And yeah, I mean, it adds so much to the app. But that Mitchell's ice cream example, you pulled it from a Mitchell's ice cream in San Francisco, and it ended up in like Massachusetts or some other place because, I mean, there's many Mitchell's ice creams apparently in the world. So that's a limitation of our approach, but yeah, it all looks great. That's awesome.
Does the Google APIs have localization stuff built in already, or is that something that you have to do yourself? I mean, I guess I could just look it up.
I bet they do. I mean, they're a very global company. So like if you want the results to come back in Spanish or something, you mean? Yeah, probably could specify that. So yeah, so I mean, it's an amazing like first iteration of search in the app, right? Like it's like, I mean, I can think of a couple of things. I think we're now tracking, just maintaining that, like you said, Alejandro, maintaining the search term when you go back and forth from map to list. You could imagine, maybe a checkbox or something that's just search near me. So, if the user isn't already sharing their location, it would prompt them to share their location, and we try to restrict the results to something that's kind of nearby with the person and stuff. There's lots of ways we could improve it, autocomplete and all kind of stuff. But just getting search in and providing value to users is a huge step. So I've heard product managers refer to that as going from 0 to 1, right? Like it wasn't there before, it's there now. We can keep going to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but that 0 to 1 step is usually the one that like unlocks most of the value in a given feature. So nice job.
Very cool.
Yep.
That was a really great demo too. Like super succinct. I really love the technical explanation, Megan. That was a great demo of what was of the actual product. Alejandro, you had a couple examples prepared ahead of time. That was really nice.
Yeah, fully agree. I don't know why my video is being really laggy. Yeah, Katya, Jessica, you all want to share your work as well?
I guess I will start with a code walkthrough, and Jess could demonstrate what we built.
But Jessica, you're on your phone, right? So it might be tough.
Okay.
I'm on my phone, so
okay, so I can.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Okay, then I can do both. So the task for this week was. I guess I need to share my screen. Sorry, I forgot about this.
Good.
I'm sorry.
Cool.
Okay, so the task for this week was to give users the ability to set how frequently the app updates with new locations, because if the user is on foot, their location isn't changing too quickly, and it's not necessary to make API calls as frequently, whereas if they're traveling by car or train, the user position changes faster and the app needs to update more often. Also, we needed to make sure to apply this delay only when the user is moving and sharing their location. That is, we didn't want the delay when the user is panning the map while their location services are on, or when the user is panning the map while their location services are off. So I'm going to show you how the implemented functionality looks at the moment. Okay. The settings view invites the user to share their location, which I'm going to do now. And as soon as I've shared mine, I can see a slider interacting with which allows me to adjust the frequency with which API calls are made. And now if I use the slider to set the desired API call frequency, I can see this delay being applied to my API calls. So for example, if I select, let's say 25-second delay, and I go back to my map, do some magic and start moving. Okay, so this is our network tab, which will validate if the selected API call delay is going to be applied. So I've selected the 25-second delay, and now I'm going to start moving. And now you can see that the app is going to wait the 25 seconds before returning new data and updating the map and list views. Whereas if instead of moving myself, I start dragging the map, no time delay is going to be applied, and the data is fetched without any delay. So this is how the functionality is implemented in our code. First, we created a value that sets the delay. We defaulted it to 0. Then we took that value from our locations context and plugged it into those parts of the code that needed it. First of all, we brought it into our settings.js file. It's here that we have logic responsible for manipulating slider value, because here we are listening to an on-change event when the user is interacting with the slider. As soon as that happens, we set the selected value into state. And then we bring our time delay into the part of code that deals with data fetching. So here, our use locations hook accepts 2 parameters, center coordinates object, as well as the time delay, the interval. You can see that to the center coordinates object, we actually had to add a new property, which is called isDragged. This is so that we could differentiate between have our center coordinates changed because we were dragging the map or because we were moving. And then in our use effect, basically we are saying, So if we are dragging the map, do the fetch straight away, load data straight away. Else, if we are moving, we want to put a delay on how fast to call our fetch function. So here we have an if-else block. In the if statement, we check if we are past the wait period. For example, if we were to delay 30 seconds, we're basically saying is now at least 30 seconds after the last time we executed the fetch. If yes, and enough time have passed, we run our function straight away. If no, we go to our else block, and that's going to calculate the delay and call the fetch function as soon as it possibly can. That is when we get to our 30 seconds. So Alejandro had questions about mathematical operations here. I'm going to reply to it now. So you can see this bit of code. So basically what it's doing here is it's subtracting from the delay the difference between now and time ref .current. So for example, let's say we have a 30 seconds delay, 25 seconds have passed, and that little interval minus now minus time.ref current is going to say set a timeout to call this function in 5 seconds time. So basically this is to ensure that we call the fetch function maximum once every interval, and that it doesn't wait longer, because without this little bit of code, for example, if our delay is 10 seconds and we call the function and it's 9 seconds, since last time we executed, it's still going to wait 10 seconds if we don't call it again afterwards. So in that case, it will force the delay of 19 seconds between the requests, which is longer than we told it to. So, and then later on, we return this function, because if we call a function 100 times in 25 seconds, we don't want to call it 100 times after that time has elapsed. So basically, if we hit this hook again, it will call this function that we return. And we can use it to kind of tidy up the last use effect, so that we don't get the weird leak where the use effect will kind of stack. And finally, we made sure that, like I mentioned this prop, and we made sure that we are passing in the appropriate value for is dragged, where we're calling, updating our center coordinates. So if we go here to our map.js file, we made sure that, first of all, when we are dragging the map, we made sure that is dragged is set to true, which means when you are dragging, do not apply a delay. And then when the user is moving, in our handle success function, we made sure that is dragged is set to false. Basically, this is the case where we want to delay to happen. And the same we did to our handle stop sharing function, where is dragged is set to true. And this is basically it.
That's great. Could you go back to the calculation, the interval calculation?
Okay, wait. Okay.
I just want to make sure everybody understands that now. Is that more clear now that it's now that Katya has kind of explained it? That line 58.
In my case, a little sorry.
Yeah.
Because I am not expert with the set timeout function, but I understand the set timeout you can pass two parameters, is the function and the delay.
Mm-hmm.
And in the line 58, I expect only interval. I don't know why you need that now minus time ref. Is my confusion why?
Yeah. So if I'll take a shot at it, Katya, if that's okay. So so the user has said, they want a 15-second delay, right? And as they're moving around, their expectation is that, like new things are going to flow in every 15 seconds. But, as they move, there may be multiple calls, multiple attempts to make another API call as they move around, especially, if they're in a car or something, or on a train, right? So what we need to do is keep track of what the interval from the last time the API was called, and keep counting it down each time until it gets to 0, and then make a new call. So if we were just to, every time a new attempt to make the call happened, just use interval, those would just stack up, and eventually, like we would never end up making the call until the user stopped moving. Does that make sense?
It's how quick of course. For example, you set 10 seconds and you move before 10 seconds, but you maintain 10 seconds after you call other call API. I'm not sure it's the idea.
Yeah, so they say 10 seconds, 5 seconds later you move, or you move enough that a new call is attempted. You want that new location to be called 5 seconds from then, because it's been 10 seconds since the first call.
The second call takes 15 seconds. It's possible for the example?
No, the way that Katya did this, it wouldn't be 15 seconds. It would be 10 seconds after the first call, because we're accounting for the time that's elapsed since the very first call, not resetting the interval each time. This is an example where I wish I had something to draw on, and I could kind of either do this more visually. And maybe actually I can. Maybe let me see if I can annotate on the. I've never actually tried to do this for real. I usually just draw smiley faces and stuff on people's meetings, but so
Excel draw link that you shared. Maybe you can do it there.
Oh yeah, sure. Whatever you think.
You've blown my mind with that sources or the sensor view. I've never.
Oh, I know.
seen that before.
Yeah, me too. I didn't know you could do that. I was like, how do we test this? And no, it's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'm like,
locations.
I'm gonna get on a bus and see if it changes.
Yeah, that was really cool.
So this time there was actually a lot of confusion. I think in our code review, me and Alejandro, we were talking about completely different cases. So he was talking about dragging the map, while our whole PR description was based on actually, the user changing their location, like physically moving. And the videos that are attached there are all demonstrating that. But I think Alejandro understood it as if I was dragging the map. So that was like a big cause of confusion, I think.
Yeah. Then I think we may have talked about it in the refinement, or like when we were talking about issues before. But yeah, if the user's dragging, they would expect that pins would kind of flow in without the delay. So nice job on kind of implementing that functionality. I think maybe we'll, just in the interest of time, we'll table the drawing and all that kind of stuff to try and clear that up. But Alejandro, if you want, we can kind of asynchronously afterwards just make sure it all makes sense.
Okay, it's okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. I'll turn over to Lauren to run the retro. Nice job on the demos, everybody. Amazing. The app's in amazing shape.
Yeah, it looks really amazing. All right, let me share the link. There it is, right one. So let's do, we're doing pretty well on time. Let's do 5 minutes, because has everyone's already added cards. Does anyone need more time?
I wasn't able to add a card to 2 of the sections, but I hand wrote them down here just because it is a little goofy back and forth on the phone. Sure. So generally speaking, I know I'm fine. If it's okay if I speak a couple of them that aren't written.
Yeah, absolutely. Does would anyone else like more time for cards before we share? Nope. Okay. So then let me share my screen. I'm a little like discombobulated because I'm not at my regular workstation. So if I don't share appropriately, we shall see. I think that's right. Can everyone see? Let me know if you can't see our retro board.
Yeah, it seems appropriate. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I lost my, oh no. Oh no. Okay, there. Can you still see it? I'm sorry, my screens are flashing on. Okay, here we go. So let me move video people over there. And then you can probably see mine. So we might as well just start with my cards. So we'll go through and we'll share our cards. And then, and in the interest of time, as we're going, go ahead and add reactions as we're going and any plus ones. And then of course, we'll go back and look at our action items from last time. So actually, why don't we do that first? So action items from last time. How's that look? Everyone can see that? Perfect. Great. So action items from our last retro, we mentioned more communication in Slack. We mentioned trying to reconnect to check in throughout the week, like how is the work going? How much time is everyone spending? What blockers there are? Who needs help with what? And then we, this was a great one, work toward getting the work done, right? That we're going to have a bias toward getting things done. So those were the action items from last retro, and now we can see how we did on those action items. So I will officially share my stickies, I think, and then I will highlight mine, highlight posts, and I'll blow this up a little bit. Confetti cannon.
That's the best.
So I wanted to just give a shout out for our office hours this week. And I am, first of all, I'm really sorry that I don't understand time zones and I scheduled it for the wrong time. So my apologies to Pratya and to Jessica.
It's so okay.
But Alejandro and Megan and I, during office hours, we did synchronous code review of their issue, which I love doing because code review can sometimes be fraught with emotion, and it's really great to do it just synchronously. So I can like share my explanations for things, and then they could tell me about their code. It was almost like getting a code demo in real time. That was excellent. And it just really helps clarify communication because they can hear in my tone of voice, like the intention, the things that I'm saying. And sometimes written communication can be a little more challenging, right? That it might come across in a different way than we're actually intending. And it's really like vulnerable to share your code and hope for great feedback. And so anyway, I just want to give a shout out for that. I thought our code review session was great. And I didn't learn anything this week at all. Not about time zones. Let's see. So in terms of lacked, I think that there could have been even better communication, like within the pairs. And then I think a really important goal for this group would be to improve communication between the pairs. So think more of your global team rather than your pair team. I think that's something that was lacking a little bit. And in terms of longed for, I'm going to say it again, communication. Writing code is hard. And then I think communication, especially, I don't know if especially on remote teams, but communication on a developer team is probably the most challenging part of working together. So always thinking about how you can communicate better. Yeah, those were my thoughts. And then I'm going to stop highlighting, and I'm gonna pass it on to Katya. Whoopsies. Highlight posts, and then I will get you to the right place. And then I think Katya, I just need you to share. You shared your stickies. Here. Okay, great.
Okay, so I really liked seeing how our app, the app we're working on, is getting more and more intelligent and capable of doing some pretty neat things, searching, following you around, allowing to adjust API call delay and thus save device battery. Really liked my teammates' continuous sense of care, and also I wanted to say a big shout out to give a big shout out to Alejandro and Megan for anticipating merge conflicts and updating our branch with the changes they've made to make our pairs life easier during the merge. It helped make merging process go so smoothly today. So big thank you for that. I really appreciated this. Thank you, Megan and Alejandro.
Super nice.
Learned, never worked with Google Places API before. Really enjoyed learning about it during the project. It's been good fun. Also, throughout the past few weeks, I've enjoyed a lot learning more about asynchronous JavaScript. It's a real mind bender, and I've been feeling myself a lot as a victim of asynchronous JavaScript. So when it comes to answering questions in code review comments, it would be really helpful to just actually have a reference to a line number in the code block highlighted, because up to today, I had no idea what Alejandro and Andrew were talking about when they referred to being explicit with code. And only after Andrew said, this is the line and indicated the line, okay, sorry. Because I thought initially that the problem was with something else. And I longed for just guarding my time and making sure I don't go over the suggested hour time limit.
That is always hard. Like, you just want to get stuff done and you want to make things great. And it's really, I speak from personal experience. Like, it is really hard to just like say, I'm done now. I'm going to be done now, and that will be just fine. Thank you, Katya. Andrew Hedges is next.
Okay, all right. Cool. So yeah, the oh, I need to share them. Here we go. Okay, sharing. All right. So the quality of the team's work continues to be really high. I'm really impressed just with your programming knowledge. And yeah, I mean, I guess I would expect y'all to have more trouble with some of these things, and you're kind of knocking it out of the park. So the other thing is your code reviews have been really thoughtful. You're asking really good questions. Really appreciate just like the thought that's going into those. So nice work on all of that.
Sorry.
All right. I just added this card because I just learned that you can use the sensors tab of the dev tools to set your location. Thank you, Katya. That's like a revelation for me. That's amazing.
Really
I think I've finally learned how to properly enable Google API. We'll see next time we run this, because every single time I go in there and I think I've done it, and then it doesn't work and stuff. So doing it twice is maybe the secret. I don't know. Anyway, it's enabled now. So in terms of what was lacking for me, I've been a bit overwhelmed lately between work and different things, so haven't had all the energy I've wanted to devote to the project. So I would apologize, but it's like I don't even realize it's just like there's nothing I can do about it. And I'm just also kind of wondering if people feel like everyone's sort of contributing equitably at this point. Like there's you know, maybe some people have more time, or some people feel like they need to put in more time or something, but maybe that's a point for discussion. It's just you know, how are we doing as a team in that sense. And what I have longed for the last couple of weeks is just more time and energy to give to you all. Like I said, I've been a little underwater between work and things, so I hope to be able to find, I think things are going to settle down a little bit. I've been in like doing performance reviews and things at work, so it's been had a lot on my mind. So hopefully I'll be able to come back and kind of pay more a little more attention these last 2 weeks. And then, yeah, if you're in a space where you're kind of like me and you don't have as much time as you'd want to devote to the team in a given week, just we just try to make that. I think you all are talking to your pairs about those things, but if we can just make it clear in the channel, so everyone kind of understands the state of play. Because if it were like, say, one person on each pair was like, I'm out, I can't do anything, maybe we would realign the pairs, and the 2 people who did have time that week could work together on one of the issues or something. You know what I mean? We could make it so people don't feel like they have to kind of put in extra time to get the thing over the line, right? So yeah, so that's part of just being a team. It's just, I think Bowen was saying the same thing, just about communication. So that's me.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, Alejandro is next. Let me get to my right spot here. And go ahead and share. Thank you. Oh, I think you're muted, Alejandro, if you're
I'm sorry. Yes.
talking. There you
sorry.
go.
I like the Jessica support and help me with our PR, merge it, and fix the production issues. I thank you, Jessica. The Jessica demo, it was very detailed and great. And the pair programming with Megan this week, she had a lot of passion with me and helped me to understand better our user story. The office hours with Lauren, we review our PR together, identify possible improvements. Also, we talk about a little CSS and storybook. It was new for me, and I learned about this. The TCL 30 team reviews or pull requests. I feel they were detailed with suggestion and interesting and good comments. Andrew's technical support with AP key for the places. Thank you.
Good job. There you go.
I learned about the Google Maps platform and place API. I learned the switch sentence is much better in many if conditions, right? And sometimes. And the naming conventions with the React context are helpful because they can help us to know what some contexts are doing.
Excellent.
Like, I need to learn more about coding best practice and naming conventions. It's not a problem to me. However, I will be interested if Place API have been available, maybe for future teams. And I need to learn more about the same timeout function. And I wish happening. It's a small detail, but not a problem. I will be great if we might test our code in the local too, because this week the API key it's working the production link or the GitHub link, but no, it's the local. I would like. It's not a problem for me because we can try, but only comment.
Okay.
And the second, I know it's difficult for many reasons. You communicate with the pull request for review. I feel when I review the last PR, I feel I am blocking with the pair developers because there was a space when I don't know if I need to review again or not, or are the people are working or not. And that's all. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good call out.
Yeah, there was like a 2-day delay in answering to comments, but yeah, that had to do with actually something else. I was thinking because Jess expressed to me early in the week that she wanted to contribute answering to comments during the code review, and I took a backseat. But then when the comments from Alejandro and Megan arrived, there was like a 2-day silence, radio silence. So there was no input whatsoever. And I had to jump in back and yeah. Started answering questions myself.
All right, Megan, you're up.
Yeah, I just really appreciate everyone's patience and perseverance, because this is, you know, a lot to do. I'm learning a ton, but it's a lot to do, you know, on top of everything else that people might be doing. And mentors taking your time out, like I know, like everybody is like working and doing other stuff, so it's like it's not lost on us, the time commitment. And what I learned, the Google Places API is really cool. It's impressive, the Google API robustness anyway. I was just like, wow, there's a lot more stuff that you can do with it that I didn't think about. Really learning a lot from everyone. When I saw that timeout function, I feel like I always just have a hard time with time in JavaScript, and it's everybody always has interesting solutions, so I'm really impressed. I love creative coding and SVGs, but every time I use it, for some reason, whatever I think I know goes out the window. And then like I end up learning something else. Maybe I just don't use it enough. I want to apologize because I feel like we didn't communicate, for instance, when the API stopped working and it got changed. We should have communicated with the other team why and what was going on there. I realize sometimes our stuff gets lost in threads and it's not in the bigger order threads. And I honestly didn't have anything that I longed for. I had a hard time with that until I saw the sensor tab, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is, if we could collect somewhere like a wiki or resources people have used, like I see a lot of stuff pop up, tools that people use that I didn't know about. I know that's like extra work, but if for some reason you have links or something, it'd be nice to collect those somewhere. But it's no worries if not.
Awesome. That's a really good idea. Stop. I don't know if I can I highlight yours, Jessica, and you, let's see. I don't know.
Yeah.
Jessica, can you share yours? I wonder.
I'm not quite sure how I get back to it, but I do have everything written down. Is it okay if I just kind of say liked, learned, and I'll add them here at some point?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Okay. So let's see. So starting with liked. So I realized this is for the last 2 weeks. And so yeah, with the amount of conversation that was happening in the PRs was pretty fantastic. Also the last 2 weeks with all the work that both Alejandro and Katya have did do. Yeah, it's fantastic. And I just really want to express my appreciation to them both. In learned, one of the pieces that's just kind of sinking in my head more and more is kind of that work to done, like Andrew was just saying, that 0 to 1 step or first iteration, just kind of like really trying to keep that in the forefront of work, and just using that to stay focused on the goal and to not get overwhelmed. Also, yeah, the sensors tab, fantastic. And also I learned a ton from that messy merge during the week that I was paired with Alejandro. Yeah, that was a mess and it was great. So I learned a lot out of that. As for lacked, as a little mini confessional, I just need more confidence. I lack it big time. And it negatively affects the whole team. So I'll just leave it at that for now, if that's okay. And then longed for, I would have, not to like pick on it or anything, but yeah, office hours would have been really nice, but I totally understand the whole like thing and all of that. It's not to be like a, how dare you, just no, I enjoy office hours a lot, and a lot of good comes out of them. So yeah.
Can I add
Right.
that I also feel that way, and I feel like we probably all do. Like, I can say when Katya brought up, when people were talking about contributing equitably, like there's still the different experience levels, and I definitely know there's still so much more for me to learn. And I appreciate everyone's patience and knowledge sharing. So you were definitely not alone there. So just so you know.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's going to be the case on every team you're ever on, that people are going to be at different levels of things, and so it's there are ways for everyone to contribute to every issue. Like you work through a messy merge, right? Like that's really valuable. And yeah, I've really appreciated, Jessica. I've appreciated your contributions throughout the whole project, and I know like maybe you feel like you're maybe not as skilled technically as some other people on the project, but that doesn't mean you can't contribute to a successful outcome. So just find those, lean to your strengths, find those ways that you can contribute, and we're in this as a team. Like we're going to do this all together. So
Absolutely. Nice. So let's transition, like just for 2 minutes, thinking about the things that we voted for and reacted to. What are 2 action items that everyone thinks we could take away from this week? I have some
I think
ideas, but I don't want to
yeah, I think with the communication overall, I think that our communication has had some significant improvements over the last 6 weeks. But yeah, just that communication more between just overall as a team, I think is a fantastic thing to kind of keep in mind and to engage in a little bit more.
yeah, I think that example of the API key changing, that's something like, I mean, I should have realized that point too. Like, oh, the other team's going to need to know that. But that's something we can all kind of, that's the type of thing we should all be watching out for. Is like, am I doing anything that's going to affect the other team? Looking ahead to like the merge and stuff. Like, are we in the same files? Like some of those kinds of things are just going to kind of make the whole thing smoother. And then availability too. Like we have a wide time zone spread. Like everyone has different schedules. Everyone's busy. So just all that kind of stuff, just like kind of keep talking as a team, and we can do better at all that. Just make it go more smoother.
Yeah. One of the things that one of Andrew's teams at Zapier does really, really well is just communicate every day where they are. So they'll hop in the morning and say, good morning, team, just a simple hi. And they will communicate, hey, these are just kind of casually communicate. These are the things I'm working on today, or, hey, I need help with this thing. Just really, it's casual and conversational and like immediate. Like they just do it when they think of it and they communicate right away. It's a really something to think about.
And also,
something. Go ahead, Katya.
To say something, because I feel like I'm being perceived as a villain, and I'm not. So usually, because a lot of stuff is happening behind the scenes, and for example, I make sure I come prepared to every pair programming session. I go thoroughly through the ticket. I think over implementation steps, and if I don't know something specifically, I do research, and this is done because I would like to be efficient and not waste neither my nor my partner's time during the pair programming session. And I've done it with everyone, with Alejandro, with Megan, with Jessica. And for example, the way it works. So yes, the session starts. We break down the problem into steps. For example, with Jessica, we write it down, and then I navigate, dictate the code, we implement the code, we go through each line, I explain everything. And then I ask, do you understand? Have you understood everything? Do you need more clarification? If you ever have questions, just let me know. This is how it goes. And it both went the same way for Megan. With Megan, we did 2 pairing sessions. I did the same with Megan.
Katya, I'm really confused about you saying that you're perceived as delaying things. Where does that come from?
Well, I don't know, because I feel like this is how this is the way I feel, even from my last interaction with you, from that DM that you sent me about cutting corners. I don't know, because like this particular week was really, really hard for me workload wise. I've spent some, and this ticket wasn't easy. This ticket was so hard, like technically very, very heavy. It's like a professional level React. And yeah, when at 3 a.m. I received that message, it really, really upset me after investing so much time, because the ticket is not easy.
So here's the thing, and I want everyone to understand this. You are not expected to get the thing done in 1 week. That ticket it will take however long it takes. And if you're putting in 5 hours a week, it might take 2 or 3 weeks to get the thing done. And that's okay. That's the expectation we've tried to set. You're not delaying anything by working yourself harder until 3 in the morning. That's actually not at all what I would want you to do. So the cutting corners comment that I made was not fair. What I was reacting to was you were getting feedback from a teammate and you were dismissing it or ignoring it. And that's what I saw in the PR. So
yeah, but it came because it happened because I didn't understand what line of code Alejandro was referring to, because I thought he was talking about something else. And it got clarified only today when I asked you a follow-up question.
Right. So the whole reason we're here is to learn how to communicate better, how to collaborate better. And so the even how you're describing these pairing sessions going, it sounds like you show up with the code written and you explain it to the other person. Is that what you said?
No, I don't write the code. I actually, I don't know, Megan or Jessica, can you confirm? Because I feel like, I don't know. Is there anyone out there?
I think we kind of talked through the issues. I think that's just like a miscommunication or a way of wording it. Like
So you okay. I mean, as long as when you're pairing, you're working collaboratively and things, that's great. That's what we want. But no one perceives you, Katya, as delaying anything. Things take time. You're working yourself too hard on this project, to be perfectly frank. There's no reason to stay up till 3 in the morning. If it doesn't get done, we will pick it up as a team, figure out how to make it happen. So it feels to me like you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself to get things done when really the expectation is that you put in 5 hours a week, to be honest. I mean, I know it's a difficult issue, but like that doesn't mean it has to be done in 1 week. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little confused about the whole thing.
I mean, I'll say I feel zero that, yeah, Katya doesn't hinder a thing. If anything, I feel like I am like this big 100-pound weight holding Katya back. So no, I've never, for whatever it's worth, yeah. On the other hand, and just like I kind of said earlier, I just feel like I need to build more confidence to get even near Katya's level. So
Yeah, I want to go back to what Andrew was saying about that software teams, professional software teams, those of us who are getting paid money to write code and we're on a team together, we're all at different levels and we all have different strengths in different things, and all of us contribute to the team. And there's never a team that has everybody who's at the same level. So those of us who are more senior developers have a responsibility, like that's part of our job, is to help those people who have less experience maybe, or less experience in one thing, to level up. That's part of the job. And those who maybe don't have as much like actual coding experience, they contribute to the team in fantastic ways. We all contribute to teams. So like this experience that everyone is having, the like I don't feel as experienced or somebody else has more experience, all of those things happen on all software teams. So just know that you can contribute no matter what you feel like your level is.
And just, I mean, Katya, you're a very good programmer. You are very, very far along in terms of like your programming skill. And I think like, I don't know, I mean, I don't know where the friction is coming in terms of some of the communication stuff, but you know, you figure that stuff out and you're going to be a superstar in this field. So what I want to do is try to, you know, like help everyone on the team, like just get better at that side of things. Like that's the whole reason we're here. So whatever I can do to clarify anything, or as we go through, I mean, it was a great suggestion actually to specify line numbers. The reason I didn't do that is because, you know, to even get into a comment, you have to select a line number to open up the comment. And so to me, that implies that it refers to that line. And you can even leave a comment on a range of lines. So anyway, but I'm happy to be more specific in the future about that stuff. But yeah, I'm not sure what else there is to say about it. I guess like I'm happy to talk to you individually about this as well. So I'd love to like find some time to just talk through it with you.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. That's a good retro, everybody. So again, we're going to reiterate that 5 hours per week, that's what we're shooting for. If work gets to be too much, raise the white flag, let us know. And if you have a particularly challenging week and you're not able to contribute that, also communicate that. So the more communication that we have as a team, the better success we'll have, for sure.
Oh, we're over. That's all right though. Let's talk about issues. So I guess one thing for us to think about here is, let's see, let's just walk the board. Everything's in, I'll create subtasks. Okay, we can get rid of that guy. Just so you all know, like these states that we're using are not, that's not the universe of states that you can have on something in Jira. Like there's a bunch of other ones, can't fix, won't do. There's a bunch of other states that some teams use. These are just the ones that we're using. Anyway, all right, so we're gonna exclude done, and we have a blank board. So let's see. So looking at the backlog, we have 2 weeks left, right? So we should decide as a team what things we think are going to provide the most value to the app. So there are a couple things that we could do. We do have a couple of, we have some bugs on the board. So we could decide to address one or more of those. we have a couple more stories that we could do. So setting a default view, providing some instructions and help. And then we have this design task. So I think this might be new since you did the shopping list, Megan. I'm not sure if everybody else went through this task, but let's just kind of look at it. So the idea is, we have 2 weeks left. One of the things we could decide to do is to just try to make the whole app more like just look better, be kind of more polished and professional looking. So there is a sort of suggested design process in here. So we're trying to give you an example of a lightweight process. I've had designers look at it and they're like, yeah, that would work. So where you kind of first of all decide on what the tone is you're going for. What's the feeling you're trying to convey? Come up with some example words that represent how you want people to perceive the app. You can create a mood board, so that's a way to kind of reinforce these themes. Like, what are some visual things, colors, and different, just photos and different things that kind of fit the words that you come up with for the thing you're trying to convey. There are some fundamental sort of elements of the design that you can then decide on. So typography, colors, iconography, if there's a style of icon, I've never been a big fan of drop boxes. Like, they have these kind of like hand-drawn like kind of icons. I just think it looks kind of tacky, but like you could go that route, or you could do something that's kind of very stern. And there's like all kinds of, there's whole, iconography can kind of convey a lot in your app as well. So anyway, so there's those decisions to be made. Deciding whether you want to just code the CSS from scratch, or maybe integrate a CSS framework is another decision. It's kind of an inflection point for the app. If you want, vanilla CSS, as I'm sure you all know, gives you more control, can be harder, a little harder. It could take more time to achieve certain effects. Frameworks help you get things done faster, but kind of at the cost of you having full control of the design. So if you do decide to go with a framework, evaluating options based on some of these factors. So quality of the documentation, how easy is it to integrate with? Does it have accessibility sort of built into it? How active is the community? If you run into a problem, will you be able to Google and kind of find an answer, that kind of thing. And then there are some suggestions for different frameworks that teams have used, Collab Lab teams have used in the past with good effect. So the idea is that this, if you were to go this route, like say you wanted to go all in on design, that you would sort of work through those steps as a team, and then create the stories to implement the design. So, and that would be, so this is where it gets to be a lot more sort of self-organized. Like, you would create the stories, kind of figure out what things need to happen in what order, how to break those things down so that you in the next 2 weeks get to a nice polished app. So that's that. Take it.
This is nice compared to the first implementation for the list. Like, we just sort of went in blind, and it was definitely pressure since working with Nabil, who's a product designer.
Oh, I know, right?
I'm so sorry, whatever we do.
Yeah, that's right. He's on your team. You had a professional designer. Yeah. So, but I don't know if you all are thinking that maybe any of these bugs are high enough priority that we do like try to knock one or more of those out before we turn to design, or like how would you go about these coming 2 weeks?
In my case, I would like to try to fix some issues first. Don't try, because I think there is interesting, for example, the context, I think is a good improvement we can introduce with our codes, because we can rename and try to go more easy to read. Also, the distance, I think is not a critic, but it's a good point, because we expect some place near with you, but it's fair. Maybe it's a wrong distance. I think, my opinion.
Yeah, so one approach could be that we set a budget for ourselves. Maybe we say like, well, we'll fix 2 of the bugs and then we'll move on to design. That could be a way to approach it. I also don't know if people feel like either of these stories that are, I didn't think we would get to all these, so it's no big deal if we don't, but do either of those feel like they're high priority for people?
Could we do something else, please? Not the bugs this week.
Oh yeah. Or one team could tackle a bug and the other team could get started on mood boarding or something. Lots of ways to slice it.
I think some of those bugs too, Alejandro, like you might, like the naming conventions, you could probably knock out pretty quickly, just since you wanted practice at that. But yeah, and then the help instructions probably don't seem as dire because the app already has a lot of like work and design, but could add it since you already have made some assets.
And this is something, I mean, this gets talked about a lot on professional teams too. Is like sometimes we're like, oh, well, let's just do that because it's easy, right? It's like, well, but like we really just try to stay focused on like, let's do it because it provides the most value to users, right? So I agree, like this naming convention thing, it's a simple refactor. If somebody just, had an extra hour, they could probably just go through and rename a few things and that would be done, right? That's not something that users are ever going to see. The effect on users might be if the app lived for a long time and got more complex and that turned into a problem because it slowed the team down or something. But yeah, I mean, like I think you're right, like the help stuff, like the app's probably pretty straightforward, right? Like the help was really envisioned to help people get it installed on their home screen or something, right? Which some users know how to do that already. The design process, like if we were to go that route, like that's something that's going to take a bit of time. Like it's it's because a lot of decisions to be made and kind of explorations and all that kind of stuff. So
and I don't know how deep people want to get, but I do have like
But for example,
Figma installed and all that.
In the list view, there is still a CSS bug, so the icons are not aligned when you switch from I don't know, one mode of phone to another one. And it's been there like since the very first days. There is a misalignment of icons in the list.
Yeah, there's a lot of little details like you roll over a button and the map shifts a little bit and stuff like those are the kinds of details that if you were to kind of go through and make a design sweep over the app, you'd want all that stuff to be really tight. Alignment's a big one. So I'll make a suggestion and see if this feels right. So I would suggest that the team gets started on the design stuff because it's going to take coordination and like all of you kind of talking through some decisions together. In the meantime, if somebody feels passionate about one of the bugs and feels like they can kind of knock it off in a reasonable amount of time, go ahead and take it on. But the next maybe, and if we end up having extra time or something, maybe there's other things we decide to pull in. But maybe my suggestion would be that that the focus of the next 2 weeks be the design of the app. Does that feel okay to everybody?
Whatever that's for. I think that sounds good.
Yeah. Megan, Alejandro, Katya, are you on board with that approach?
Yeah, sure.
I am.
Okay, cool. So I will take that one and put it into selected for development. And then I guess if you like Alejandro, say you decide you really want to do the renaming of the context, just take that one and assign yourself to it, put it into one of these states or whatever, just so it's, and then maybe let the team know like, hey, I'm down to get together and talk about design. I'm just gonna knock this one out and just for my own practice or something. Just be in the channel talking about what you're working on. And then I think I am on office hours this week. So if you know, if you all want to, we could either all meet like in office hours and talk through the design approach, or you all could meet first as a team and, you know, try to get it rolling and then come with questions. Happy to approach that either way. We don't have to decide that right this second since we're over time, but we can in the team channel just kind of let me know what you all are thinking as a group. Cool. All right. I love the design phase.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you, everybody. I think you're all amazing. I'm just impressed with this. I mean, you are all showing such dedication. I mean, from staying up till 3 a.m. to, you know, like doubting yourself and like all the emotions in between. I mean, it's you know, this is it's when you're uncomfortable that you are learning. I want to put that out there. And you know, I don't know. We have 2 more weeks together as a team, and we've already built something that's really cool. And I think, like, you know, you all are going to take this next 2 weeks and just take it to the next level. I don't know. I can't wait to work with you on it.
Nice. Thanks, everybody. Good
All right.
Thank you.
Yep. Have a good rest of your days.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Everyone.
Bye.
All right. Bye.